Shalom, all praise to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, double honor to the Apostle GMS. This is Noah Allah coming at you with the video, and I'm going to be starting from the book of Romans 6 and 11. So it says, likewise, reckon ye yourselves to be dead indeed unto sin, but alive unto the Most High through Yahushua our Lord. So we ought to be dead unto sin and be alive in Yahushua. Okay? So we're supposed to make dead our old ways, which is walking in sin, which is sin pursuant to 1 John 3 and 4. It's a transgression of the law, of the law, but rather be alive in Yahushua, in faith, having faith in Yahushua. Let not sin therefore reign in your mortal body. Reign meaning to have the highest influence or control of your body. So let not sin or transgression of the law have control or the highest influence in your body. Why? That ye should obey it in the lust of the flesh, lust thereof. Because if sin reigns in your mortal body, has the highest influence or control of your body, then you're going to obey sin and you're going to fulfill the lust thereof. You're going to fulfill the desires of sin, and you're going to transgress the law. And eventually you'll be put to death, or the Most High will punish you. Verse 13, neither yield ye your members as instruments of unrighteousness unto sin. Members of what? Members of not only of yourself as an individual, but the members of the body, which the body represents the believers of Yahushua. Yahushua is the head, and the believers are the ears, the nose, the eyes, the mouth, the hands, the arms, the legs, the feet. All the believers are being likened unto a body, unto different parts of the body, with Yahushua being the head. So you don't yield your members as instruments of unrighteousness unto sin. You don't yield your members or make fellowship your members as instruments or as tools of unrighteousness, which leads unto sin, or which is sin. But yield yourselves unto the Most High, as those that are alive from the dead. But rather you yield yourself or give fellowship unto the Most High, or join with the Most High, as those that are alive from the dead. Those that are alive from the dead, meaning what? Those whose old man perished, and then now a new creature is created in Yahushua, in Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. So the old you is dead, and now you are alive in Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. So you're supposed to yield yourselves unto the Most High. That's what those individuals do. Yield yourself unto the Most High as those that are alive from the dead. Because those that are alive from the dead, those that are new creatures, and the old man is dead, they've yielded themselves unto the Most High and put aside their old ways, and your members as instruments of righteousness unto the Most High. For sin shall not have dominion over you, for ye are not under the law, but under grace. Right, so sin shall not have dominion over you, because we are not under the law, but we are under grace. So we're no longer justified by the works of the law. We still have to keep the laws to the best of our ability, but if we transgress, if we offend in a point, the Most High isn't going to put you to death. Well, he could put you to death, but the Most High can have mercy on you, because why? We're under grace. Look at that word grace.
Strong's G 5485.
Charis. And graces. I'm going to go to rule right here. Of the merciful kindness by which the Most High, exerting his holy influence upon souls, turns them to Yahushua, keeps, strengthens, increases them, and says Christian faith, knowledge, affection, and kindles them to the exercise of, says Christian virtues. Which grace is basically, grace and mercy are synonymous with one another. Because it said mercifulness, it said merciful, right? Or mercifulness. Grace and mercy are basically synonymous. When you're showing a person mercy, you have the ability to punish them, but you withhold yourself from punishing them. If you beat a person up, you have the ability to go further and possibly kill that guy, but you show that person mercy. Why? Because you have the ability to punish them, but you're withholding punishment from that person. So under grace, the Most High has the ability to punish us, but he's showing us mercy. Okay? Because we should all be dead. That's what I'm going to read right there. Let's go to the next scripture. Romans 3:31. Romans 3:31. Do we then make void the law through faith? God forbid. Yea, we establish the law. So you don't make void the law through faith. Just because we're justified through faith, you don't make void the law. The law is not to be empty. The law is not to be accounted for, because you still got to keep it to the best of your ability. Because if not, that means you could have sex with an animal. That's against the scriptures. That means you could be a homosexual. That means you could drink blood. All of that is against the scriptures. The Most High forbid, yea, we establish the law. Okay? So just because so we're not supposed to make the law through faith. We're supposed to establish the law. Which goes back to the last scripture that we brought out in Romans, where it says, don't yield your members unto unrighteousness. Don't yield your members unto sin. Because why? You still gotta establish the law, even though it's justified through faith. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 26. And it's I was starting verse 27. But I keep under my body and bring it into subjection. That word subjection.
Strong's G, 1396. Delagogeo.
Delagogeo. To lead away into slavery, claim as one slave, to make a slave, and to treat as a slave, i.e. with severity, subject to stern and rigid discipline. So when the Apostle Paul says, so when the Apostle Paul made a statement saying that, but I keep under my body and bring it into subjection, what he's really saying is, I bring my body under strict and rigid discipline, lest that by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway. In other words, the Apostle Paul kept himself in rigid spiritual discipline. Okay? Because it's a constant war between the flesh and the spirit. And the Apostle Paul kept his body under strict and rigid discipline, lest that when he preached to others, he himself should become a castaway. Because he could preach to others, tell them that you don't make void the law through faith, and that we're justified through faith, and that we shouldn't transgress the laws. But if he didn't keep his body in subjection or through strict and rigid discipline, he himself could have came up a castaway. He himself could have fell into the same temptations that he was telling others to abstain from. Okay? This is the book of Colossians 3 and 5. It says, mortify therefore your members which are upon the earth. Look at the word mortify. Necro. That sounds like necro, which means dead. Mortify, morgue. Like when you put a dead body in the morgue. For some reason I don't want to play. But let's see.
Strong's G, 3499.
Necrao. I just typed in those numbers real quick to see if I could hear a sound. I wanted to make sure, it was still giving no sound because I couldn't hear anything. So it says, necro, to make dead, to put to death, slay, worn out, of an impotent old man, to deprive of power, destroy the strength of. So when it says, mortify therefore your members, it means to make dead your members, to make dead or to deprive. Let me go back real quick. It just escaped me. I think it's what is it, to deprive of power, I believe. Yeah, to deprive of power, to destroy the strength of. So he kept his body under strict and rigid discipline, or under subjection, as we read in the book of 1 Corinthians 9 and 27. And in doing so, that's you mortifying therefore your members by depriving the power of, or the strength of, your members, which leads into what? Mortify therefore your members which are upon the earth: fornication, uncleanness, inordinate affection, evil concupiscence, and covetousness, which is idolatry. So the Apostle Paul kept his body under strict and rigid discipline, which is him mortifying or depriving the power thereof of what? Therefore your members which are upon the earth. And by doing so, he deprived himself, his members of what? Or mortified his members of fornication, uncleanness, inordinate affection, evil concupiscence, which is desiring something that you shouldn't have, covetousness, which is idolatry. Look at the word concupiscence. desiring something that the Most High don't approve of, I believe.
Strong's G, 1939. Epithumia.
Epithumia. It says the desire, craving, longing, desire for what is forbidden, lust. It's another word I was looking for. Maybe I had that same definition. Or maybe that's concupiscence, but in a dictionary definition. Let's continue the next verse. For which things sake the wrath of the Most High cometh upon the children, cometh on the children of disobedience. And that's not only Esau, but that's also the 2/3 of Israel as well as the other nations. So you got to keep your body in the strict and rigid discipline, mortifying your members, depriving your members of that power or that strength of falling into the lust of temptation. Okay, which leads unto what? Which temptation leads into what? Sin. So with that, I'm gonna close. All you brothers learn something. I'm gonna say Shalom.